Hey everyone, I just wanted to hop on and give an update of what I've learned this last week in school. So, we are continuing to study the cardiovascular and renal systems of the body, so the heart and the kidneys, um, and conditions related to both those systems. So, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stress, diabetes, obesity, chronic kidney disease, urinary tract infections, and renal stones. So, those were some things we studied this last week. One statement that really stood out to me this week was that hypertension is a symptom of imbalance rather than a disease. So that's very much an integrative Ayurvedic belief in regards to high blood pressure. So for me, what that means is just because a person comes in and they consistently have elevated blood pressures, it does not mean that they necessarily will have chronic hypertension, that for the rest of their life they'll have high blood pressure. For me, it's a symptom that something else is out of balance in the body. And what are some strategies that we can implement, either from a lifestyle, daily routine, nutrition standpoint, and then potentially herbs as well, to help support the body and the physiology of the body to create this state of balance so that the blood pressure can regulate again and no longer be elevated. Um, Also in Ayurveda, it's not like, oh, your blood pressure is consistently above 140, you have hypertension. This is how we're treating it. That's very much a Western medicine approach. In Ayurveda, it's taking a thorough history from the patient and asking about the daily routine, asking about the nutrition, and then based on the symptoms the patient is telling you about, as well as their day-to-day activities, helping provide guidance and specifically identifying the root cause. And so you're probably like, well, how do you identify the root cause? So, for example, with high blood pressure, there are varying types in Ayurveda. So one type would be Vata hypertension, which would be caused from a Vata imbalance in the body. And you're probably like, what does that mean? So I'll try to explain it. Hopefully it makes sense. If for some reason it doesn't, drop a question or comment and I'll try to do better explaining it. But for example, some signs of Vata hypertension would be if a person comes in and they're like just really dry. Their skin is dry, their eyes are dry, the mouth is dry. They may report having palpitations, so feeling like the heart is racing or just like an unsettledness in the chest. They may have tremors, so feeling of shaking. They may report that they're having constipation. And also, they may say, well, at times my blood pressure is elevated, but it's not always. So they may have variable blood pressure readings. So, some things that can contribute or cause a person to have Vata hypertension would be if they're under excessive mental strain, if they have lots of anxiety or have been in this state causing them to be quite anxious, and then if they have sleep disturbance and specifically sleep deprivation, so not getting good enough sleep, all can contribute to Vata hypertension. The next one would be Pitta hypertension. So some symptoms that would coincide with Pitta hypertension would be a feeling of heat or hotness in the body. They may have a reddened complexion with like red and rosy cheeks. They may have this tendency to feeling more irritable or angry. And so some lifestyle things that could potentially cause Pitta hypertension would be if someone is eating an excessive amount of like spicy or salty foods, if they've been in the sun for extended period of time, so sun exposure, and then if they've been in situations that might cause them to be angry. All of that can contribute to Pitta hypertension. The next one would be Kapha hypertension. So some symptoms that would go along with that would be like a feeling of heaviness in the body. They may report that they feel like more cold than usual. And then also when you check the labs, they may notice on the labs that they have high, high cholesterol levels, hyperlipidemia. And so some potential lifestyle things that could cause a person to have Kapha hypertension would be overeating sweet and salty foods, a lack of good physical activity, exercise, and then also being overweight. And then, so those are specifically if it's like, oh, 100% they have dryness, constipation, tremors, and elevated blood pressure, then it's a Vata hypertension. But if a patient were to be like, like I have some dryness, but then at times I'm like irritable and angry, and then also a heaviness, that would be tridoshic hypertension. So meaning an imbalance of all three of the doshas causing high blood pressure. And so in Ayurveda, it would be like, okay, these are things from a lifestyle standpoint to avoid or to shift and change to help promote balance. And then it would be like, depending on that state of high blood pressure, what herb would best support the physiology of the body in that state of imbalance. And so that's basically how they broke down each of the diagnoses, were the specific imbalances in the body that could cause that diagnosis to happen, and then lifestyle things and herbs to help support whatever is out of balance. So we also discussed hyperlipidemia in that way. What did I write? And we discussed how herb treatments may vary based on the dosha imbalance. So the dosha is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. We also discussed various Ayurvedic approaches for urinary tract infections, kidney stones, and chronic kidney disease. A very important thing is to honor the urges that the body may have. So if you feel like you need to urinate, go to the bathroom and urinate rather than holding it for extended periods of time. Anytime we are like trying to suppress or push down these body's natural urges, it's creating a state of imbalance in the body. So it's very important to honor those natural urges in the body as they occur. Also, we discussed the importance of stress management. And so I'll read a line from one of our lectures that really stood out to me. So psychological, emotional, and mental stress are just as strong of contributors to damage in the coronary arteries as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, and being overweight. So very much, it's so important to find moments to relax, to allow moments for stillness and calmness, because even if you have your blood pressure completely under control, you don't have high cholesterol, you're not smoking, you don't have diabetes, you're not overweight, but you're like super anxious and you're under all this stress and it's affecting the body, it's just the same as having any of those other issues. So really having a balanced emotional state. And when I say that, it's not saying that you can't feel angry and you can't feel sad. It's just allowing the body a sense of safety and supporting it through breath work, specifically in Ayurveda, transcendental meditation. So just really finding avenues to help with psychological, emotional, and mental stress, because that is a major contributor to imbalance and inflammation in the body. So thanks for listening. I appreciate your time and you continuing to follow me on my journey. Share something if you learned something new, ask questions, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.